Let's face it, if affirmations and scripting were all it took, then we'd all be millionaires by now. Well, unfortunately, addressing our thoughts and feelings in those ways when it comes to money can be like trying to hit a fastball with a feather. It's not gonna be that effective. Why? Because it's our identity that shapes our thoughts and beliefs around money. You know how they say to water a plant at its roots and not the leaves? Well, only affirming or even just visualizing is like watering a plant at its leaves. We need to get to the root, to the source, which is our identity around money. I know you've been told you can just say, I am wealthy, and that's enough. But we need to do more than just speak wealth into existence. We need to become the type of person who is magnetic to wealth. As Neville Goddard said, to be conscious of being poor while praying for riches is to be rewarded with that which you are conscious of being. So that is the million-dollar question. How do you be conscious of being and radiating wealth while obviously experiencing conditions that are anything but wealthy? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you to do exactly that. Because the universe does not respond to our wishes. It responds to the energy that we are embodying. And if you are watching this thinking that wealth and abundance are important to you, then this video is important to you. Because here's the truth. Money doesn't flow to people who wish for it. Money flows to those people who respect it. And after spending 6 years studying law of attraction and law of assumption, I have tapped into the wealth mindset that will align you with abundance. And that is what I'm going to show you in today's video. My name is Allison, and I am here to help you create the life you desire to experience. And if this video resonates with you today, I would greatly appreciate a like and subscribe. Okay, let me ask you, what in your life do you identify as no matter what? For example, you are, no matter what, always a son or a daughter. No matter your relationship with your parents, that is an unchangeable identity. It is a core identity. Okay, but what kind of son or daughter do you feel you are? How have your beliefs and feelings and experiences colored your perspective on this core identity? Do you consider yourself a good son or daughter? Someone who remembers to call them on their birthday or takes them to doctor's appointments? Or maybe you've had an argument or a falling out, and maybe based on feelings and experiences, you consider yourself a bad son or daughter. Either way, these are constructed identities. Constructed identities are built based on beliefs, feelings, repeated thoughts. They are not based on an objective reality. Like our planet has gravity. Like there is a specific measurement for the speed of light. These are objective realities. But your being a good or bad son or daughter is not. See, our constructive identity is a little sneaky because clearly it is based on a core identity. But it is something we have used to color and embellish our core identity. So when it gets wrapped up like that, unconsciously, we begin to believe that it's unchangeable. But that is not true. Now, people who struggle with money, feeling lack, scarcity, like there's never enough, have unknowingly, unconsciously, a constructed identity that repels wealth rather than attracting it, based on the conditions and their perceptions that they have experienced. This is where so many people go wrong. They mistake these results of these conditions as a core, unchangeable identity. But let me ask you, did you come out of the womb bad with money? Is there some universal law that says because you have never had enough, you've always struggled with money, that you must always struggle with money? Or can it be that you have simply internalized the conditions you have experienced and constructed an identity of scarcity? Because if your identity around money were truly unchangeable, no one would be able to improve their financial situations. And we know that's not true. Okay, now, hear me out. I'm a really good driver. Okay, I'm not to brag. I'm a really good driver. I feel very confident in my abilities to drive. This is an identity I've constructed. Being a driver is my core identity, right? I've learned how to drive. I'm not going to unlearn it. So this is a core, unchangeable identity now. I'm a driver. But my belief that I'm a good driver, that's a constructed identity that I've built up over time. Okay, and here's the point of the story. Even if I make mistakes, cut somebody off, make a wrong turn, those moments don't shake my belief because I've built my identity strong enough that even in the face of mistakes, I still see myself as a good driver. And this is what we need to do with you. Create an unshakable belief and construct an identity that you are someone who is good with money, someone who is magnetic to wealth. So that no matter the conditions you find yourself in, no matter the state of your account balance or spending habits, your identity remains unshakable. Your money struggles are not proof of who you are. They are just the result of the identity you have unconsciously constructed up until now. And we can feel really good knowing that since you've already constructed an identity, you're really good at it. And it will be easy enough to do it again. So now we can see that we need to construct a new identity around wealth. But the mistake so many struggling manifestors make here is that they believe visualizing this idealized identity is enough to change their reality. If they script, affirm, visualize, that they will just naturally become this identity. But manifestation is not just about the thoughts we think. It's about our vibrational state of being. And our identity is not just a concept of our mind. It's how we act. It's reinforced by our actions. We could spend all day crafting the perfect wealth magnet identity for yourself. But if your behaviors don't align with this identity, then we're just spinning our wheels. I would not be doing you a good service if I didn't stress to you that it is as much about aligning our behaviors with this new constructed identity as it is about constructing the new identity. As Neville Goddard says, you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must imagine that you are already what you want to be and persist in that assumption. For the unrealized desires are merely states of consciousness awaiting embodiment. In other words, just imagining yourself as wealthy isn't enough. You must embody that identity through your actions and behaviors. The shift happens when you start behaving in ways that align with the newly constructed identity of someone who is financially abundant. Manifestation isn't about waiting around for money to show up so that I can feel abundant. It's about feeling abundant now and acting like it. So many struggling manifestors are trying to vision themselves as a wealth magnet, but their actions are not aligning with that. For example, struggling manifestors will repeat affirmations about a wealth flowing to them, but then not take the time to check their bank account regularly. Or they affirm that they are a wealth magnet, but don't track their spending. Or they avoid budgeting because it feels restrictive, and they falsely assume that budgeting means lack. But those actions are not in alignment with someone who considers themselves wealthy. And that's not a judgment, it's an opportunity. Let's be real. Every major manifestation guru out there with millions of dollars, they have an accountant. They track their finances. They know what's coming in and going out. Being conscious of your money is not anti-spiritual. It's a demonstration of respect for what you say is important in your life. Wealth abundance is not about spending mindlessly. It's about making intentional choices towards your desires. It's about saying, this is important to me, so I am going to prioritize it, and I am going to consciously direct my resources towards it. That's not lack. That's moving in alignment with wealth. Money doesn't flow to those who wish for it. It flows to those who respect it. As Tony Robbins says, Where focus goes, energy flows. Right now, whether you realize it or not, you have unconsciously constructed an identity of someone who is not in control of their finances. That might have shown up in things like not checking your bank account regularly because it's sketchy, feeling uncertain about what you can truly afford and wondering if your card's gonna be declined, or spending in ways that don't really reflect your true values. But here's the good news. This is a constructed identity that we can easily change. And once we shift it, your entire financial reality will follow. So let's get into 2 ways you can do this right now today. First, obviously, we need to construct a new identity around our wealth. Right now, you've been embodying a state of lack, not because you are bad with money, but because you have been assuming the identity of someone who always lacks it. So let's shift that. Now, many people will start out with bold affirmations, like I am a wealth magnet or wealth flows to me. And those are great, but they probably feel out of reach, or they feel flat, like just words. They're not really resonating with you. The fact of the matter is, if you say it, but deep down you don't feel it, your subconscious will reject it. So instead, let's take a different approach. I want you to try out a bunch of different statements and find the one that you can really lean into, the one that feels honest enough, authentic enough. So I have a list, and let's try these out. I am learning to manage my money. I respect my money, and my money respects me. I make thoughtful financial decisions. I am getting better with money every day. I am capable of financial stability. I am open to growing my wealth. I am financially responsible. This keeps them powerful, aspirational, but authentic and realistic enough. Your subconscious can believe it. Repeat this to yourself. These make perfect robotic affirmations. This is something you should do every day, multiple times a day. Anytime you spend money, anytime you get money, anytime you think about money. This should absolutely become a non-negotiable to-do every day. Now, tip number 2 is to create separation. You are not your past behaviors. You are not your bank account balance. Wealth isn't something you are or aren't. It's simply a reflection of who you are being. Imagine that you are already what you want to be and persist in that assumption. So the first step is to stop internalizing the financial conditions you find yourself in. Stop internalizing these conditions. Take them from being an internal experience to an external condition. For example, so instead of saying, I am broke, which is an internalized I am statement, you could say, I am aware of my financial situation, and my awareness sets me free. You can be aware that you have $0 in your bank account. Your financial situation, this condition, might be broke. That's what the balance says about this current financial condition. But here's the truth. Having $0 in the bank account says nothing about you. You are not broke. You are simply someone observing a financial condition. It's just like someone being labeled a drug addict. Drug addict is not a core identity. It's not unchangeable, but rather drugs is a condition someone is experiencing. Drugs is a condition someone is participating in. Your financial situation is simply a condition you are participating in. You are not permanently defined by that condition because it is changeable. This awareness is critical because once you realize that your current financial conditions are not who you are, then you can construct a new identity to embody who you want to be. So separate yourself from your current financial conditions. Instead of saying, I am broke or I am poor, Say, I am getting better with money every day. This shows awareness of the current condition, but it doesn't attach your identity to it. Darkness cannot survive the light. We must integrate the resistance that must be there because you are experiencing conditions that run counter to your desires. And simply acknowledging those conditions and separating them from who you are being is literally all it takes to shift. So consciously create the separation between current conditions and your new identity. It's not I am in debt. It's I am aware of debt and thousands of dollars due, and I am becoming financially abundant every day. This is the moment when you stop identifying with your current conditions and start constructing the version of yourself who attracts and manages wealth effortlessly. Now that you know how to separate your identity from your financial conditions, the next step is to reinforce your new wealth identity. One very powerful tool to do this is to use robotic affirmations. And for help with that, I would recommend watching my video on robotic affirmations. And if this video resonated with you, I would greatly appreciate a like and subscribe. Thank you, and I look forward to bringing you more.